Quick intro, as there's a lot to talk about, as my video style is short 5-minute videos, giving you a quick idea on whether each series is worth your time. So I'm already leaving a lot of criticism on the cutting room floor. So if you want a more long-form deconstruction, I highly recommend Mother's Basement video on the series, but let's get into it. Bottom In is basically a death game series. 13 people who attempted suicide are saved by angels, sent by God, as God wants to retire, and he believes those that are willing to end it all will be the best people to change the world in a positive way. These 13 angels are ranked in 3 categories based on how important their human partner is to the plot, but they can give their person somewhere between 1 to 2 gifts. A red arrow that makes any one shot love the user and do anything they would do for someone they loved. A pair of wings that allow them to travel at super speed and also dodge arrows fired by other candidates. But if they're a special angel, they can give you a white arrow that will kill any human it touches. Someone becomes God when either all living participants agree on who it should be, or only one participant is alive. Our main protagonist Mirai is one of these 13, and his special angel gives him all 3 gifts. But he is a devout pacifist, and now he has to figure out how to end the selection process, while remaining a pacifist. Now, let's break down where this goes off the rails. In case you didn't know, this is an adaptation of a story done by the team of Suzugumi Uba and Takeshi Obata of Death Note fame. So you can just safely assume that all the women range from mediocre to atrocious because Oba can't write women worth a damn. See the serial killer lesbian rapist and the sadist bioterrorist lady for examples of that writing in action. Also obligatory, please stop making the only canonical LGBT+ character a rapist. As for more prevalent female characters, there's Saki, Mirai's love interest and childhood friend, but she supports our main protagonist and eventually even gets a battle suit. A catsuit that's primarily there for fan service, and she doesn't even fight in it. Speaking of fights, it's really hard to create an interesting fight when the primary moveset is a one-shot kill or a one-shot you do what I say now. So if you're looking for good fights, this series isn't for you. But let's talk about the main character and his struggle. I know it's very common for many death game series to make a happy pacifist protagonist struggle until he breaks down and eventually turns into a killer. See Darwin's Game and Glipner for examples of this. So I can appreciate them hard focusing on making sure that our main protagonist actually stays true to his code and explains his thought process. Meaning as long as his main antagonist is equally grounded, it could be an interesting clash of thought processes. But that falls off the goddamn rails as soon as episode 2, as we meet the first antagonist, Kanade. So Kanade is a nutcase who loves his sister but caused her death when she basically said, "I don't love you that way." So his angel said, "Hey, you could make her an angel if you win." But knowing he wasn't going to win a vote, he said, "I'll just kill them all." So he co-ops a Sentai power armor and goes around trying to force God candidates out of hiding. This includes, but is not limited to, torturing a 7-year-old God candidate in a stadium filled with an audience, give the mentioned serial killer God powers to go on a rampage and turn her into a bomb on top of a tower that canonically kills like 30-ish bystanders, doing the same but discount Metal Gear Solid villain and the previously mentioned bioterrorist would coat Tokyo in a biological weapon for the kicks of it. And if he won, he would say that he would kill all the ugly people and enslave the good-looking poor, and that would end poverty somehow. So maybe, and this might just be me, but I'm pretty sure no matter how pacifistic you are, maybe we can make like exception for this guy. But because of him being our main protagonist for the first part, I think there's a serious style clash between the protagonist and the first antagonist. So yeah, the first half of the series just is not good. The second half fits much better tone-wise. Professor Yanada fits the clashing of thought processes, as he's a devout atheist, meaning he sees the selection project differently, and believes that God is some sort of parasite that feeds off people's belief that he exists. So the selection project is an effort to drum up belief, as well as include that nobody can be trusted with the power of a god. So best to reduce the candidates down to 2 and just have those 2 kill each other at the same time, so no one is selected. But with him as the helm as the antagonist, we get some actually decent debate on whether the earth needs a god and the value of religion. This half, however, is plagued with pacing issues. We got a lot of just standing around, threatening each other to not move or this thing will happen to your friend, only for something to pop up last minute to save them. It does this like 3 times in the final fight. Another issue I feel this series has is that the angels don't matter. Some apparently have secret motives and nothing really comes from it. The angels are mostly just there to like info dump and explain the lore. As for positives, I think it has some interesting ideas and covers some interesting topics, but when you talk no jutsu enough, at some point something interesting will fall out of your mouth. But I do like the main goal for our protagonist is to find happiness, and the discussion it has with finding said happiness is pretty good. So it's a shame that the ending kills everyone and everything on Earth, but that might just be me. So in conclusion, this series has a protagonist for a social-political thriller, but casts him in an action series. Then they realize that issue in the second half, and while it fixes the style clash, the change in pacing can throw you for a loop, while also having a score of issues on top of that. So obviously, I'm not going to be recommending this series. But is there anyone I think might enjoy this series? Not really, unless you're a huge fan of Oba's work. You have to suffer the first part if you want the socio-political stuff, and all you have to suffer the pacing issues if you want a stupid mindless death game series. It has no good fights, and the shock value of killing kids will probably turn off general watchers, so I don't really see much of an audience outside of fans of Oba's work. But it then has to suffer the comparison to the dearly beloved Death Note, which probably doesn't do it any favors.